My gosh, this artist was called out for drop-kicking 15 toddlers into the sun!
How can I get clout off of this? Oh, I know! I'll pretend to be the better, non-problematic version of them!
Isn't that also kind of problematic?
Shut up, I've already made up my mind! Hey there, Yappers, it's Bree, and I usually do art commentary and just art in general, so if that's what you like, you should subscribe. I'm almost at 90,000 subscribers, so if we reach my goal by the end of the month, that'd be so cool. And before we get to today's topic, here are my super thanks thank yous. Misha's mother, I don't know to be honest, Kazuna Endy, I'm Not Home, Perico Draws, Corey Dosa, and Cat's UFO. And as usual, if I said any names wrong, I apologize, and if you aren't here, you'll be in the next one. So I'm finally able to talk about this after my little delay for the last video, but it's finally here. And we're back on the topic of how people react to creators being problematic, or sometimes straight up criminal behavior that just surpasses the internet's view of problematic. This is another case of people reacting terribly and immaturely rather than actually discussing the problem, similar to some of my older videos discussing this because people just don't know how to handle issues maturely or properly. But instead of bullying unrelated things or fixing their art, I present to you the world of quote-unquote better versions. And you might say, Bree, what does that even mean? Better versions of what? Well, let's say an artist you love is being cancelled. Unfortunately, it happens a lot. So in the swarms of video essays and just videos talking about them in general and how problematic or even in some cases worse they are, you see an account pop up. Accounts that in most cases claim to be the better or less problematic version of them. Usually they have a copy and paste version of the person's Sona, maybe in just a different color palette or just an obvious copy that looks like their OC but just not quite. And I see these accounts a lot. People like Pumpkin the Gentleman, who has been recently getting a lot of hate, has many clones. Meowba, if you know who that is, has gotten so many clones, it's insane. People who are in the front view for hate in general just get clones. Some do this just to mess around for giggles, but most of the time it seems to be just for clout. Instead of addressing and spreading awareness on the issue, they decide to just profit off the attention they're getting and make copies. Again, it's not always the reason. Even then though, I find making fun of situations, especially depending on the person's actions, just odd. But that's just my opinion. But I've seen so many just desperately using situations for clout, not adding anything to the situation, not spreading awareness or addressing things, just building a platform off of them. And with how many people do this, many get falsely accused of doing this too. Some people just god-awful timing coming in with similar sonas or styles, and it's terrible. I've seen so many creators get harassed for trying to be the better version when they aren't, or just using situations for clout when they aren't. But when they do, it's just so weird, especially with creators who did some genuinely gross things that in some cases are illegal. It's just odd. I'm sorry, but I find most of you odd. And while in most cases this behavior is nowhere even near comparable to the original creator's actions they're copying, to say you're unproblematic is a bit of a stretch. Using situations, especially serious ones of that, is pretty problematic in itself, don't you think? Does that not sound wrong? I mean, it can't just be me. And again, before people twist my words, it's usually not even close to as bad as who they're copying, but it's still bad. Especially if there's people they've hurt in the situation. And I don't see any of these people coming and sitting down to spread awareness or giving something new to the situation. They just prance around as the better one, gain a platform, and they just move on once it's not popular anymore. Some of them just abandoning their accounts and moving on, or some of them even going on with their accounts. This is kind of similar to where I covered the bullying of non-related things when it comes to problematic creators. You're not doing anything for the situation. You're just becoming a copy and paste of that person for giggles or for personal gain. Maybe both. You aren't doing anything positive for the situation like I said, or even adding anything to it really. And again, just using the situation. And my question is, why would you even want to associate with a lot of these people in any form in the first place? Even if you claim to be the better version. Like with Meowba and other rage baits. If you don't know who Meowba is, that creator has done some messed up stuff under the label of rage bait, and people constantly give them what they want. But holy cow. Since the uprising of Meowba again, for weeks I couldn't go a day without someone waffling about how they have a better non-problematic version of them. Or how they heard about a non-problematic version of them. Why would you want to be associated with that? In again, any way, shape, or form. Be yourself. Build your platform off of yourself, not terrible people. Don't rely on terrible people to build your platform. Sure, it's harder to build a platform from scratch, but when people think of your user, do you honestly want them to be like, oh yeah, that's so-and-so's clone? Personally, I wouldn't. It's just icky and I don't want any part of associating with them or being linked to them in any way. But hey, maybe that's just me. And these accounts, a lot of the time, just do what I explained in other videos, like fixing their art or building their account and just bullying things that have nothing to do with the situation, like, I don't know, their physical features or unrelated interests that alone are just harmless. That or they just yap and yap and yap about this one person in the most unproductive way. Like, not with the intention to help the situation or spread awareness, just to yap about stupid stuff. Like, I don't like their art, or their art style is ugly. And I don't want to be rude, but shut up. You aren't doing anything to help. And honestly, I don't even think these people want to help. They don't want the drama or situations to resolve. Just whatever gets them clout. In fact, I'm sure a lot of these people want it to continue so they have more to milk. Usually they stray to their own content once that's milked dry, or better yet, I say in the most sarcastic tone, they rebrand for the next critter to milk off of. Again, they don't give insightful takeaways, spread awareness, or call them out. It's just so annoying. Which is why I try to avoid these accounts as much as possible. But unfortunately, that doesn't stop some from seeping through the cracks. It just sounds like to me, for many, it's just a way to get clout and be praised for their actions at the same time, despite their actions being immature and dumb. It's such weird behavior, and I really don't get the appeal of making this type of content. To me, it screams unoriginal, and pulling stupid stunts like this for attention is gross. At least add something to the situation or spread awareness for the situation you're milking. I just think a lot of these topics should be handled with care, which none of these people do. But to be honest, this mostly happens on TikTok, where no one really handles any topic with care, so am I surprised? Not at all. I just wish people would do better. But honestly, you can have your opinions on this type of content. If you like this content, like it. If you hate it, then hate it. I'm not forced to like it, and you aren't forced to dislike it. Remember to formulate your own opinions, and if you want, comment them down below. Maybe this just seems like a nothing video, but honestly, it's something that kind of annoys me, so yeah, I just wanted to talk about it. Also, sorry if I sound tired this entire video. It's really late, but this is like the only time I can record, especially with so much school and stuff, so yeah. And I also just really wanted to make this video, so sorry if I sound like I'm half asleep. But anyway, comment your thoughts and experiences. Like, maybe you've done this. What was the motive? What's it like making this content? Remember to try and be respectful in the comments. Possibly like if you liked the video, and subscribe for more of this silly content, and so I can reach my goal by October. But I guess that's it for today. For now, I'm gonna go head out. Here are today's scrumptious brush codes. And with that, remember to love your art, love others, and love yourselves. Bye!